The banquet hall floated above Earth like a jewel made of glass and light. It was called the Halo Pavilion, a massive ring-shaped station built to impress the galaxy. From its wide windows, stars shone like quiet witnesses. Inside, music played softly, and hundreds of voices mixed together in many alien languages. This night was important. For the first time, humanity had been invited to host a full galactic trade banquet, not as guests, as equals. Elias Grant stood near the center of the hall, dressed in a dark suit with a simple silver pin on his collar. The pin showed Earth's symbol. He did not smile much, but his eyes missed nothing. He was the CEO of Grant Stellar Industries, the largest human corporation in space. Some called him a businessman. Others called him dangerous. Tonight, the galaxy watched him carefully. Around him stood tall insect-like beings with shining wings, blue-skinned traders with glowing eyes, heavy reptilian nobles covered in gold armor, and many others. They talked, laughed, and drank rare liquids from crystal cups. Some looked at Elias with polite interest. Others looked at him with quiet doubt. Humans were new here. Smart, yes. Creative, yes. But still untested. Servers moved smoothly between tables, carrying plates of food from dozens of worlds. Human dishes sat beside alien meals. Some were steaming. Some floated in the air. Some pulsed with soft light. That was when Elias noticed something odd. Near the far wall, close to a tall decorative plant, a small figure moved quickly from table to table. Too quickly. She was not wearing any official guest mark. No escort. No badge, just simple clothing worn and patched. She was eating, not slowly, not politely. She grabbed food, tasted it, and moved on. Sometimes she slipped pieces into a small bag under her clothing. Her movements were careful, like someone who had learned how to survive without being seen. Elias frowned. Security should have noticed. He touched his earpiece. "Who is that near the west wall?" he asked calmly. A pause. Then a confused voice replied, "We don't have her on the list, sir." Before Elias could answer, two security officers began moving toward the girl. Other guests noticed and stepped back, whispering. The music continued, but the mood shifted. The girl froze when she saw the guards. Slowly she turned. She was clearly alien but small compared to most species. Her skin was a soft gray-blue. Her eyes were large and dark. No visible weapons, no signs of power. Just thin arms and a tired face. One guard spoke firmly. "You are not authorized to be here." The girl looked at him, then at Elias, who had begun walking toward them. "Relax," she said casually. Her voice was light, almost amused. "I'm just here for the free food." Silence fell around them. Several alien nobles hissed or clicked in irritation. One of them laughed cruelly. Another shook his head. Elias stopped in front of her. He studied her face. There was no fear in her eyes, only hunger, deep, honest hunger. "Free food?" Elias asked. She nodded. "Yes, big party, lots of waste. I thought no one would mind." "This is a diplomatic event," one alien ambassador snapped. "Not a shelter," the girl shrugged. "Food is food." Security looked at Elias, waiting for orders. He raised a hand. "Wait." The guards hesitated. Elias crouched slightly so he was closer to her eye level. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated this time, just a moment. "Nira." "What species?" he asked. A shadow crossed her face. "Doesn't matter." That answer mattered more than she knew. Elias stood. He looked around at the watching guests. "She's with me," he said calmly. A wave of shock spread through the hall. "With you?" a tall avian noble repeated. "This is inappropriate." Elias met the noble's gaze. "She is my guest now." Murmurs grew louder, some amused, some angry, some curious. The security officers stepped back. Nira blinked, surprised. She looked up at Elias. "You're serious?" "Yes," he said, "but there will be rules, no stealing. You eat at my table." She smiled for the first time. It was small but real. "Deal." As they walked away, Elias felt the weight of many eyes on his back. At his table, Nira sat quietly at first. The plates were filled again. Human food this time, Bread, soup, cooked vegetables, simple things. She ate slowly now, carefully. Like someone afraid the food might disappear, Elias watched without speaking. After a few minutes she looked up. "Why?" she asked. "Why what?" he replied. "Why help me?" she asked. "Humans don't know me, I'm not useful, not important." Elias took a sip of water. "Everyone is important," he said, "at least to themselves." She snorted softly. "That's a human answer." "Is that bad?" he asked. She shook her head. "Just different." Around them, conversations continued, but Elias noticed the tone. Alien guests whispered. Some smiled politely at him now, but their eyes were sharp. Helping a stray was seen as weakness. Good. After the banquet ended, Elias escorted Nira through a quiet corridor. The lights were softer here. The noise faded. "Where will you go now?" he asked. She hesitated again. "I don't know," he nodded. "Then you'll stay under my protection until you do." She stopped walking. "Why?" "Because someone tried to take you earlier," he said calmly. "And because no one with that look of hunger should be alone." She stared at him, long and hard. "You're strange," she said finally, "so I've been told." They reached a private room, safe, warm, food already waiting. Nira sat down slowly. "You know," she said quietly, "my people used to host banquets like this too." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Used to?" She nodded. "Before we were forgotten." He did not interrupt. "We weren't powerful," she continued. "Not warriors, not rich, just peaceful. When the empires expanded, no one protected us. Our worlds were taken, our trade routes closed, our food sources destroyed." She looked at her hands. "Now we survive where we can." Elias felt something tighten in his chest. "How many of you are left?" he asked. "Enough to starve slowly," she replied. Silence filled the room. Elias stood and walked to the window. Earth hung below them, bright and blue. The galaxy thought humans were weak because they cared. They were wrong. "Rest," he said. "Tomorrow we talk." Nira lay back, eyes heavy. "You won't regret this," she whispered. Elias watched the stars. "I already don't." Far away, in other parts of the station, alien eyes watched recordings of the banquet again and again. A human CEO protecting a nobody. A small act. But in the galaxy, small acts often began very large changes. Morning light spread softly across the private quarters of the Halo Pavilion. The station never truly slept, but this section had been designed to feel calm and human. Warm colors, quiet air, slow light cycles. Nira woke up slowly. For a moment she panicked. The bed was too soft. The air smelled clean. Food sat on a table nearby, untouched, waiting. She sat up fast, heart racing, ready to run. Then she remembered the banquet, the human, Elias. She relaxed a little but stayed alert. Life had taught her that kindness could disappear at any moment. A soft sound came from the doorway. It opened and Elias stepped inside carrying a small tablet. He stopped when he saw she was awake. "Good," he said. "You slept." "Enough," she replied carefully. He placed the tablet on the table and stepped back, giving her space. "There's food. Human standard, nothing experimental." She watched him closely, then reached for the bowl. She tasted it. Her eyes widened. She ate more slowly this time, but the reaction was clear. Her shoulders relaxed. Color returned to her face. Elias noticed. "That good?" he asked. "It doesn't hurt," she said quietly. He stiffened slightly. "Most food hurts you," she nodded. "Most species don't care if it does." He sat across from her. "I want to understand." She hesitated, then sighed. "Understanding usually comes with a price." "Not today," he said. She studied his face. He looked tired but focused. Not hungry for power, not curious like a scientist. Curious like someone who actually wanted answers. "My species is called the Lurel," she said. "We evolved on a low-energy world, gentle plants, slow cycles, our bodies are sensitive. Most galactic food is too dense, too aggressive, it damages us." "And human food doesn't?" Elias asked. She shook her head. "It's balanced." "Strange but safe." Elias leaned back slightly, absorbing that. "There are others like you?" he asked. "Yes," she said. "Scattered, hiding, always hungry." A pause filled the room. Outside, the station hummed quietly. Elias tapped the table once. "I need to show you something." She tensed. "Show me what?" "The truth," he said. Later that day, Neera sat behind a glass wall in a clean medical lab. Human scientists moved calmly, speaking in low voices. No restraints, no needles yet, just scans. Lights passed over her body, measuring, reading, learning. She hated labs, but Elias stood nearby, watching everything. One scientist approached him. "Sir," she said quietly, "this is remarkable." "How so?" Elias asked. "Her biology reacts extremely well to human-grown food, better than our own people in some cases. It's almost compatible by accident." "Accident?" Elias repeated. The scientist nodded. "Human agriculture evolved under scarcity. We learned moderation, balance. That balance fits her species perfectly." Elias looked at Neera through the glass. She met his eyes, uncertain. "What about long-term?" he asked. "With steady access," the scientist said, "her people could recover." Elias exhaled slowly. Across the station, not everyone was pleased. In a private chamber, several alien representatives watched recordings from the banquet. The moment Elias claimed Neera as his guest played again and again. "This human embarrasses the council," one reptilian noble growled. "He shows weakness," another said, "and weakness spreads." A third leaned forward. "Or it hides something." They exchanged looks. "We cannot allow humanity to gain moral control," the first said. "If they become protectors, others will follow them." "Then we remove the symbol," the third replied. "The girl." Back in the lab, Neera finished the scans. She felt tired but unharmed. "They didn't hurt me," she said quietly to Elias. "I promised," he replied. She hesitated. "Why are your people like this?" He smiled faintly. "We're not always, but we learned the hard way." As they walked through the corridor, alarms did not sound, but the air felt tighter. Elias noticed security presence had doubled. "Something wrong?" Neera asked. "Something expected," he said. They reached a meeting room. Inside waited several human advisors and scientists. The mood was serious. Elias spoke first. "You all know why you're here." One advisor nodded. "The discovery changes everything." "Not just food," another added. "Her species' neural patterns show advanced spatial memory, star navigation." Neera looked up sharply. "You studied that too." "Only what you allowed," Elias said calmly. She crossed her arms. "My people were explorers once." The room fell silent. Elias looked around. "If we help them, the galaxy will push back." "And if we do?" an advisor asked. Elias did not hesitate. "Then we're no better than the rest." A soft chime interrupted them. Security entered. "Sir," the officer said, "we've detected unauthorized access attempts to this sector." Neera's eyes widened. "They're coming for me." Elias stood. "Not without being seen." Hours later, the station's main council hall filled again. This time the mood was sharp, not festive. Representatives gathered under bright lights. Elias stood at the center. Neera stood beside him. "You bring a stray into sacred space," an alien delegate accused. "Now you demand special protection." Elias raised his voice just enough to be heard. "I bring proof." Screens lit up around the hall. Data flowed. Images of scans, charts, projections. "Her people are starving," Elias said. "Not by nature, by neglect." Murmurs spread. "And human food," he continued, "can sustain them, easily." Laughter erupted from one corner. "So humans become farmers for beggars," Elias smiled thinly. "No, partners." The laughter died. "We also discovered something else," Elias said. "Their ancient star roots." That caught attention. "Roots through regions no one survives," Elias said. "But they did." Neera spoke then, her voice steady. "We memorized space because we had to. Maps failed. Memory did not." The hall buzzed. One representative leaned forward. "And you offer this knowledge for charity?" "No," Elias said. "For cooperation." Silence followed. Later, in a quiet hallway, Neera leaned against the wall, exhausted. "You showed everything," she said. "Why?" "Because secrets create fear," Elias replied. "And fear creates enemies." She looked at him. You already have enemies. He nodded. I know. That night, as Neera rested again, shadows moved elsewhere. Plans were made, ships redirected. The galaxy had noticed humanity's choice, and it was not done testing it. The first warning did not come with alarms. It came with silence. In the early hours of the station's night cycle, several long-range sensors stopped reporting. Not failed, not damaged, just gone quiet as if space itself had closed its eyes. Elias noticed immediately. He stood alone in the control room, watching data streams flow across the main screen. Human analysts worked quietly around him. No panic, no shouting, just tension. They're masking their approach, one analyst said. Clean, professional. Elias nodded. How many ships? At least 6, possibly more. Neera sat nearby, her knees drawn up slightly. She had learned to read human faces quickly. The calm ones were the most dangerous moments. They're here for me, she said. They're here for what you represent, Elias replied. He turned to the room. Initiate protocol, open light. Several officers looked surprised. That will expose everything, one said. Routes, cargo, civilian traffic. Yes, Elias said. That's the point. Moments later, the Halo Pavilion's outer lights brightened. Every camera, every channel. The station became visible to the entire sector. Nothing hidden. The approaching ship slowed. They had expected secrecy, resistance, not transparency. A message came through. Cold, formal. Human CEO Elias Grant, you are harboring unauthorized biological assets. Transfer them immediately. Elias responded without delay. Denied. You risk sanctions, the voice warned. Elias' reply was calm. We risk them every day. The signal cut. Neera looked at him. You won't give me up. No, he said, and neither will humanity. Outside the station, human escort ships moved into position. Smaller than alien war vessels. Less armed, but precise. Perfectly aligned. The galaxy watched, because Elias had done something dangerous earlier that day. He had opened a public broadcast. Across hundreds of worlds, screens activated. Not dramatic, not flashy, just clear. Elias stood before the camera, Neera beside him, no guards in frame. This is not a threat, Elias said. This is a choice. He spoke of hunger, of forgotten species, of a galaxy that measured worth only in power. Then he showed images, human farms in space, modular food stations, simple designs, cheap, easy to replicate. We will share this freely, Elias said, with any species that needs it. A ripple passed through the galaxy. And in return, he continued, we ask for cooperation, not ownership, not obedience. Behind the scenes, alien leaders argued fiercely. Some shouted, some calculated. The approaching fleet hesitated, because something else was happening. Far from the Halo Pavilion, small ships began to move. Old ships, civilian ships, Lurel ships. They followed paths long forgotten. The ancient routes. Neera stood in the navigation chamber of one such ship, her hands resting lightly on a glowing interface. She did not look at charts. She did not need to. She remembered. Around her, human pilots followed her guidance exactly. No questions, no doubt. Left, she said softly. Now slow. Space bent in strange ways around them. Radiation storms passed harmlessly beside the hull. Gravity wells missed them by fractions. The impossible became routine. One ship became 10, 10 became 100. Lurel refugees moved through safe corridors that had not been used in centuries. The galaxy noticed. Back at the station, the hostile fleet received new orders. Retreat, not because they feared human weapons, but because they feared human influence. Days passed, then weeks. Human food stations appeared near forgotten worlds. No flags, no demands, just open docks. The Lurel gathered, they ate, they healed, they remembered who they were. In the Galactic Council, debates turned bitter. Humans are disrupting balance, one leader argued. No, another replied quietly. They are changing it. Elias stood before the council again, this time not as a defendant but as a partner. You feared we would conquer, he said. We don't need to, he gestured to Neera, now dressed in simple but proud clothing of her people. She once came for free food, Elias said, because the galaxy taught her that was all she could expect. Neera stepped forward. Her voice was calm, steady. Humans fed us, she said. Not because we were useful, but because we were hungry. Silence filled the hall. That is power, she continued, not force, choice. One by one, resistance weakened. Trade offers shifted. Alliances formed. Humanity's position rose not through fear but through trust. Months later, Elias walked through a human agricultural ring orbiting a green world. Plants grew under artificial suns. Lura worked beside humans, learning, teaching. Neera walked with him. My people want to name a route after you, she said. Elias smiled faintly. Tell them to name it after hunger instead, she laughed softly. You changed the galaxy, she said. No, he replied. We just refuse to ignore it. She looked out at the stars. We used to think humans were weak. So did many, Elias said. What are you really? She asked. He stopped walking, thought for a moment. We are stubborn, he said, and we don't waste the hungry. Far away, on worlds that once looked down on Earth, children watched stories of humans feeding strangers among the stars, and the galaxy learned a new truth. Humanity did not rise by taking. It rose by choosing to care.